Washington Region. I'm glad that you all could be here today. I am, for some reason, not being able to see all the participants the way I normally can, but we're going to move on. All right. So, good morning. Good morning. Hope everyone's having a great week. I know that New Year is here and off to a fast pace. And welcome to our first stakeholder meeting for January 2024. We've done a lot, but we're going to do even more. How about that? So, as always, I want to take care of some housekeeping items. One, if you are not a member of GWRCCC, we want you to make sure you do that. I will put that in the chat for you. If you've not renewed your membership for this year, please do that. Would love for you to do that today. I want to shout out to a couple folks that I don't want to get in too much trouble, but I know that Jill Hamilton, our board chair, and also Quentin, I know, thank you for renewing your membership as well. And I know that many others still have to renew their membership, but please do that. We did put that in the chat to become a member and, of course, to renew your membership. I want to just mention a few announcements before we get into our speaker today. We also have some information on some funding. I want to talk about a grant application that's up right now that we'll be looking to partner with some folks. It's due on January 31st in Maryland, so we'll talk about that as well. I want to mention we had some good news. This week we were able to, and the week is not over, so we've got our fingers crossed for a couple other things. But yes, the office was successful in being on 4 winning grants this week from the Department of Energy's Vehicle Technology Office. Shout out to the VTO and Department of Energy and all of our partners that we worked to on 4 different grants we won. Woo, yes. So yes, we were able to win on 4 teams. One is a marketing grant. We're going to get some money from the feds to do some conferences and staff up in the region as well. We also won a grant around electric school buses with WRI. So we're really excited about that. We partner with Plug in America on that's a nonprofit. It does a lot around EV charging. So we won a grant for that to do some outreach events, and there was one other one, and I keep forgetting. I think it was another one. And so the week's not over. We got a couple more days. We're waiting for another funding round from the joint office. That's the joint office from Energy and Transportation. So we're really excited about it, and we're working on grants every day. Got 2 due tomorrow, so so we're excited, and we got a lot of work to do. But thank you to our team and our partners on that, and so we're really excited. We did also want to say a shout out to our board chair, who's going to speak a little bit about some biofuels work. We collaborated her company on a DERA grant, and so we're really excited about that. That's a diesel emissions reduction grant. You all hear me really get into this after she speaks today, but that was another good grant that we'll be working with DC government on, hopefully, if we win that grant. So we're out here, we're on the grind, meeting with folks every day, and you know, if there are grants that you're thinking about, we always want to partner with you on that. There's sometimes it's just a letter of support. Sometimes it's making phone calls. Sometimes it's you are making sure our office can be a project manager or a community engagement, or there may be something that we can do together around some funding. Uh, I was looking at some of the funding announcements that were made this morning from the Department of Transportation around some of the clean transportation funds that came out this morning around EV charging and hydrogen. And so, wow, none of the hydrogen projects in our area got funded again. And so we've got some work to do. So that's another thing for those who may not know. I'm also a fan of hydrogen as well. And so I gotta really talk to some of the folks in our region about that, how we can, make sure that the Mid-Atlantic region is not getting left behind as we talk about hydrogen fuel access in our area. So I wanted to share that. Let me just go through a couple quick announcements that we have. One, I forgot, I'm going to put it in a chat in a minute, but the Washington Auto Show is coming up next week, and make sure that you all sign up for that. Our office is doing a collaborating with the department, with the Metropolitan Council of Governments on a panel or two next Thursday. So we want you all to come on out and participate in that. They have a policy day next Thursday at the Walter Washington Convention Center. And so I'll put the link in the chat so you can register. It's great networking, a lot of good information. We're going to be talking a lot about accelerating EV charging in that day, so you can learn about some of the things that are happening, some of the challenges that people are facing as well. The other thing I wanted to mention, I want to thank all the folks. If any of you are on that came out last night, I want to thank our staff that helped out last night as well. We collaborated with EV Noir and two other groups for a reception last night at that we started last year at the Transportation Research Board conference they have in DC. And so that was a great event last night. I want to thank everyone that came out. It's only our second year. It dramatically grew from last year. And so we're looking forward to that. One other thing I want to mention about the auto show, which is coming up, Washington Auto Show is January 18th through the 28th. Our office will be participating in a forum next Thursday. The panel that I'm moderating is from 3 o'clock to a little after 4. The other item is that we will be also collaborating with AutoFlex Fleet and a few others on a reception that night, not that same night, but on January 20th. That's the day of Fed Fleet. So it will be at the reception will be from 6 to, I think it's from 5 to 7. And we'll put that in the chat in a moment as well. 5 to 7 at the Courtyard Marriott in DC, right next to the convention center. So it's free. For those of you who want to meet different federal fleet staff that can help you get business opportunities, you want to come to this event. It's free, and it was really nice last year, and so we'll be at that event as well. We're collaborating at that, and that's part of the auto show. Next year, we'll do some more activities there. We will do some outreach at this auto show. Gets over 30,000 people there. So if that's not on your list, you should make sure that's on your stop. Last couple announcements: Restoring the Dream of Racial Equity in Energy, Environment, and Transportation webinar will be on Tuesday, the 16th at 11 a.m. Should be a really great panel. Show up for that. We have a annual report kickoff on January 17th at 11 a.m. So all of you who we want to make sure you're there as we start collecting our data for that for our annual report. And then our last event for webinar for the month will be on January 25th, which will be a workplace charging webinar. We'll have some other things we'll be doing, but those are the kind of the main items. Also, we're counting down to June 27th, which will be our Ron Flowers annual scholarship and golf outing taking place on June 27th at Oak Creek Golf Course. So we need some of you to be help us get some sponsors and get a team. I see Mr. Norris on there. I know Jill said she's gonna get some prizes and sponsors. And George, good to see you on here. So we're counting on all of you to help get some good turnout for the golf tournament. Okay. I also want to mention that on February 21st, we will have our opening kickoff reception for the year, February 21st. That will go from 6 to 8 p.m. It's going to be in Washington, D.C. at the Pepco Edison Gallery. So you'll start seeing that pretty regularly starting next week. And so we do have sponsorship opportunities, and we will have, it should be a really great event, February 21st, 6 to 8 p.m. That's our kick off the year. You hear about some of our priorities for 2024, some of the projects that we were involved with, and we'll have some good speakers as well. We don't have a lot of talking, but we only have about 20 minutes or so. But you'll be able to hear some high-powered people. So we're working on some real prominent leaders from across the country to give, and locally to give some remarks. We did have one of the city council people speak last year. We'll probably have one of them as well, and some federal and some state people from the region as well. So without further ado, I'm going to stop, and I'm going to go to Jill to give some information on some opportunities around biofuels. Then when I come back, I want to get some feedback from you all today on some marketing and some ideas around marketing and branding for the organization. Get some suggestions from you all on that. But before I do that, I do want to spend some time to talk about a funding opportunity. So for all the people that did not make this call today, they're going to miss out on this funding opportunity from the state of Maryland. So, all right, Jill, let me read your information. Jill Hamilton is the founder and president of Sustainable Energy Solutions. She's also the board chair of Greater Washington Region Clean Cities Coalition. She has more than 25 years of consulting experience in the alternative fuels transportation industry. And over the past 20 years, he has raised over $1 billion for the biofuels and other related industries. She's also a trusted advisor to the National Clean Cities Program, and has just done a lot of great work. And we appreciate her hard work and her leadership and advice all the time. So Jill, without further ado, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Antoine. First of all, I just wanted to thank you for having me on, but also I hope to see everybody at the kickoff meeting in February. It's a great networking opportunity. So Antoine, I had prepared some information on some of the health effects, but if you want me to talk a little bit about MEA, I'm happy to talk about that first. So the Maryland Energy Administration has they have a couple grant opportunities. Forgive me, I don't have a slide on it, but I'm going to tell you about it. And then I'll move to my slides. But Maryland Energy Administration has an open source solicitation that's due at the end of the month, where we have been successful in working with Prince George's County to secure a grant that's about to kick off. I don't know that that's actually public yet, so please keep that among ourselves. They should be announcing that shortly. And that particular project was able to fund 6 B100 retrofits of transit buses. Because there haven't been other funding opportunities to do retrofits of existing vehicles. And I think that's one of the reasons why Antoine wanted me to discuss that. That, again, is Maryland Energy Administration's open source. And let me actually do a quick search here and drop that into the chat. It will only take me a second to pull that up. And drop that in the chat for you. There we go. I will say we have worked with Optimus Technologies, who I'll talk about in just a minute, who is a technology provider, but they were able to help secure some additional funding from Maryland Soybean Board to help with interested fleets that want to possibly apply for this funding or use this B100 technology. So let me see if I can, and I'm going to share. Let me see if I'm sharing my right screen. I think I'm still sharing MEA, aren't I? Let me stop for a second. Pardon me. I work on my technical difficulties too. Before I get too far, let me go ahead and share this screen. I wanted to mention, are you guys looking at my slide presentation?
Yes.
There we go. Some funding opportunity that's open right now. If you're interested in infrastructure for biodiesel or ethanol, the Higher Blend Infrastructure Incentive Program is open right now. They receive USDA received funding through the Inflation Reduction Act for is about $450 million for this program. They have 5 windows. They're in their 3rd window. So we have 3 more opportunities to secure funding for this infrastructure. So if you're interested in doing something with your legacy vehicles, your diesel vehicles, whether it's the retrofits to the Optimus Technologies, or if you want to add infrastructure and use anything from B5 to B100, you can use this Higher Blend Infrastructure Incentive Program to offset 50% of your costs. And in some smaller retail fleets, they can use up to 75% of federal funding to 25% of your funding. And in working with Antoine, we are in the Maryland Green Bank, we are trying to secure low interest loans for those that don't have the ability to get loans to pay for this infrastructure. So come talk to Antoine or myself if you're interested in that. So the next round for this Higher Blend Infrastructure Incentive Program is due March 31st. We have a little bit of time. There's the link on here as well. If you want to apply for that, come talk to me if you need assistance with that. I'm going to stop sharing that one because I want to bounce to another presentation. Bear with me while I open it up or make sure I have the right one up. And share screen. Here we go. So I wanted to talk a little bit about, I've been getting a lot of questions lately on the health effects and emissions benefits of B100. And for those of you who have heard me speak before, Antoine talked about biodiesel, there's a movement to move towards higher blends to decarbonize more quickly. And so using B100. I've been working with Optimus Technologies for several years here. I think they first integrated B100 in the district's fleet in 2018. And there's about 150 units now in play and another 100, probably 50 to 75 coming shortly. The system is basically, it's not an engine modification, it's just an upfitting to basically deal with cold weather concerns with using biodiesel, which has kind of long plagued the biodiesel industry due to concerns over gelling. So what this system does is it uses waste heat, and I'm going to show you a slide in a minute on that. You swap out the tank, or you add a different tank that's heated through waste heat from the engine. You use their vector manifold that has pumps and other technical devices that move the heat. And then they have a control device and an interface. It's not very complicated. And again, it doesn't, it works within existing systems. It doesn't need EPA approvals to integrate this. It's not an engine, like I said, it's not an engine modification. So this is just showing you how the heat from the engine heats the fuel, or you could have a split tank. It does have a monitoring system, so there's no requirement for the driver to do anything. It does monitor your carbon reductions and among many other things. I would have to have Colin tell you more about all the things it monitors. But it gives a lot of feedback to the drivers and the fleets through a digital footprint. I also work with, Chevron REG. They've provided infrastructure in the district and are happy to work with you if you need infrastructure, at least on the short term. In the discussion with the Prince George's County project that Antoine and I were talking about with regard to MEA, Chevron will be providing some infrastructure while they do a demonstration and then move, assuming all goes well, which I know it will. They will move into cleaning out their own diesel tanks so that they won't have to actually modify any infrastructure to use the B100. So moving on to some of the health effects benefits. Antoine talks a lot about environmental justice and making sure that we are looking at being equitable. And the Clean Fuels Alliance America has done 3 different environmental justice studies looking at cities, taking a look at them to basically evaluate if we were to swap out the diesel transportation or diesel home heating oil, what would that do to the health effects, and being very, very specific about it. I'll get into that in a minute. I just wanted to show you there's a lot of discussion between what is B100, what is RD. RD is renewable diesel. You're hearing people talk about now B20 RD blends or B5, B50, RD50 blends. And we're starting to see these nationally, not yet in DC. All we're seeing in DC is anywhere from B5 to B100. And that has to do with most of the product is going out to the West Coast where they have low carbon fuel standards. Now, if that changes on the East Coast, we may start seeing more of that RD in our area as well. But you can blend them and still get that 80%, anywhere from 74 to 84% reduction in carbon immediately, which is better than our grid today, although I know our grid is improving every day. And if you're using biodiesel B100 in older vehicles, and I want to be very clear, this is pre-emissions control device vehicles, then you get these emissions benefits here on the right. And that's using ultra low sulfur diesel. These are tests that the Clean Fuels Alliance America has done with Southwest Research Institute and is well established. But if you're looking at newer vehicles that have those emissions control devices on already, you're really only looking at carbon benefits. The rest are going to be being taken care of through those emissions control devices. Okay, this slide, it's a couple years old, but I think the point is still clear. What it's showing you is that if we start using biodiesel today, and maybe we add battery electric technology, we're going to still be ahead than if we start using battery technology 2 years from now. A time value of carbon, and as was presented at Antoine's conference in the fall by Paul Winters, he said, for every fleet that's generating a metric ton of carbon a year, for 5 years of carbon emissions, it'll take 13 to get rid of those 5 years of carbon emissions. So the more we can do to reduce our carbon today, the more important it is in addressing climate change immediately. It doesn't mean we're not going to go electric or zero emission, hydrogen, what have you. I'm advocating for all of those things, as I'm sure all of you are working hard every day to do as well. But in the meantime, if you have legacy vehicles that can be using this technology, let's get it done, folks. So what this slide is showing is that it's using California data because California has the most stringent low carbon fuel standard and most aggressive program and the best data. So they've been working hard since the 1990s to reduce and really beyond to reduce their vehicle miles traveled and improve and reduce diesel PM. But even though they've improved it by 68%, 70% is still attributable to PM from transportation. So we have a lot more work to do and still improving it. But one good thing to note that because of that low carbon fuel standard, more than half this year, more than half of the diesel fuel use was renewable diesel and biodiesel this year. And that shows that these low carbon fuel standards are effective. And we hope that we can implement some of those same practices here in our region. So why are we concerned about PM? We're concerned about it for these reasons: health effects, premature deaths, asthma attacks, loss of work days, and it really comes down to money, right? Obviously health and money. And I think that's why, you hear Tim Fitzgerald has spoken many times when he was with the district fleet about why he has chosen to move forward with more B100 in the city, and it has to do with health effects. He wants his fleet his staff to be healthier and live longer. So I mentioned environmental justice. We've made a lot of improvements on PM and environmental justice communities, but there's still a gap. And so that's what's kind of motivating Clean Fuels Alliance to look into this study. And what this one slide shows is basically in the low carbon fuel standard in California, a lot of people are hearing about electric, and that's a good thing. We're gaining infrastructure, which is much needed, and decarbonizing the grid. But today, over 80% of those carbon reduction values are coming from biofuels, and not many people are aware of it. It doesn't mean that electric isn't having a substantial impact. It is, and it's growing every day. But let's not discount the value of what the biofuels are having. And this year, it's up over 50%. So, and in California, most of it's and now becoming renewable diesel. And biodiesel is more capped at a B20 blend, but the Optimus system is now eligible in California, so we may see some movement there as well on higher blends of biodiesel. It's cheaper. Biodiesel is cheaper than renewable diesel, and a lot of it's being demanded in the California market where they have both. Well, I should say the West Coast market where they have carbon and credits as well as the renewable fuel standard credits. So with regard to the study, Trinity Consultants is the one that did this study. They're well-established independent organization with, nationally or world renowned. The questions they looked at were, what are the benefits of a typical person if the nearby transportation or heating oil uses of petroleum diesel were switched to B100? And what are the benefits at the census tract level of a typical person living in an environmental justice community, and how to quantify those? So we want to put it in numbers that politicians and decision makers, layperson, can understand. So instead of looking at an inventory of pollution and down to a geographic location, this took a bottom-up approach. We picked locations, we identified the pollution based on truck demographics, and then calculated the local effects. I use the District of Columbia here for obvious reasons. This is our current footprint and burden. And then if we switch to B100, all this red, which is hazardous, health effects, concerns, goes to green. It's pretty phenomenal. Not every city is as clean. Will have an immediate impact, but that's based on switching solely from diesel transportation, from traditional diesel fuel to B100. And over here on the right are some of the health effects. I won't go into every detail, but for any of you who have had or know anybody has had asthma and what a concern it is when you can't breathe, these are everything from albuterol use to hospital visits and missed work days. Any questions about that? Okay. I did want to, one of the things I've also mentioned to Antoine is I'm trying to work with both GWRCCC, DOEE, and COG in trying to introduce this concept of B100 through the climate pollution reduction grant. And we have an opportunity that the district's going to be submitting in March. And we'd like to see them include, and so anybody who wants to voice an interest, we'd like to see about 10 million of potentially $500 million be carved out for doing basically 250 units at about $35,000 in costs. So each Optimus system costs anywhere from $20,000 to $40,000 depending on the vehicle. But if we could get 250 of them, it's fairly small cost to get some substantial emissions reductions. I'm going to show you what those are, as well as maybe some infrastructure for those who might need it. So there may be some more opportunities if they incorporate this into their plan. I'm hoping they will. But again, these are based on dirty diesel vehicles, and the emissions reductions are over here on the right. And these are the vehicles that I chose to replace, refuse haulers, short haul vehicles. I included the circulator buses, even though those are newer buses. So we're not going to get the emissions benefits from them. The dump trucks and construction vehicles. So if that were the case, this is what the emissions benefit. I know this is probably overwhelming for some of you, but this is what we will get in terms of emissions benefits. We're going to get, and these are based on calculations I entered, and then it ran through the system. Those emissions rates I put in here, but there are substantial benefits, health benefits that we can get through doing this. I won't bore you with more details on this, but if you have questions, let me know. But I think this is one of our existing diesel projects that we're doing with GWRCCC. I have an extra C in here, so I apologize. But that's where we've replaced some dirty diesels with new vehicles, and we get almost across the board emissions reductions. So there are different ways we can look at slicing this, if you will, to get some of our emissions benefits. But depending on what you're wanting to do, if you want to get that 90 to 100% emissions reductions for NOx and PM, you really have to look at replacing the vehicles. So I think I think Antoine, that's really the gist of what I wanted to talk about today. Thank you. Did we have any questions?
Yeah, absolutely. My computer is working now. I don't know what's going on with Zoom today, but now I can see everyone.
Oh, good.
I don't know what's going on.
All right. So what?
It's playing tricks on me. All right.
Benny, I see wants a copy of the presentation. I'm happy to give you the presentation and happy to talk to you.
Yeah. So let me just ask you a couple questions. I see a number of our fleet people on. Shout out to Steve from Greenbelt. Good to see you always. I was with your mayor a few weeks ago. Just really quickly, one of the things that just drives me crazy is this situation about the high emissions from some of the, the bigger vehicles that public and private fleets have. Um, and and I see these fleet managers trying to figure out. In fact, I was just responding to an email from Prince George's County because they're so excited about the B100 project. And that had taken a couple years really to get them to move around
Yes, it
on
did.
it. And they're excited. Just literally just was responding because they want to do a site visit in DC. So I was just connecting them with Wesley. Uh, but what do you say to some of these fleet managers and some of these other stakeholders about the medium, the heavy, especially the heavy duty equipment about uh trying to help them reduce the pollution from those.
Well, I
What's our
know,
message to
yeah.
them?
Uh, well, I know they're all trying to figure out what the next step is for them, right? And that that's like telling somebody how to parent, right? It's really up to you. It's your own fleet, your own needs, but we're here to help you. And I know in talking with Rick Hilmer and others at PG County, the reason they moved forward with it in some of their transits were, of course, transits we have opportunities to buy electric. But he said, Jill, in some of our routes, we will never be electric, at least not unless we have a technology change based on where we are today. And those are the situations where we want to try to help um, decarbonize and find solutions that are affordable that meet your needs today. So if there's a situation where you want to do the right thing, you want to decarbonize and you want to do it in an affordable way that works with your existing vehicles, that's where this B100 technology is available for you. And you can even use B20 today in your vehicles without any engine modifications. And if that's of interest to you, I was speaking with Chevron yesterday, and they're interested in working with fleets to put in, make sure the refueling infrastructure is there for you. So come talk to me. We can find some solutions for you, whether it's a low-level blend or trying to use this higher blend Optimus system compatible together. And I think if anybody's interested in doing that MEA grant by the end of the month, it's not a hard lift to put that together. Like I said, like Antoine said, we helped PG County do this and happy to talk with you about doing that with you as well.
The other thing I wanted to mention, that I think that's really important for folks to think about, centers around. We're going to be hosting 6 uh, uh, conversations and listening sessions
Oh, right. Yes.
between February and the end of May. And those will allow us to talk with fleets, with gas stations, and different leaders and sustainability managers, transportation leaders on what we can do to help you accelerate access to biodiesel and also electrification. Because there, as Jill indicated, there are a lot of different public and private incentives and resources that are out there. And if you have, you know, five diesel powered vehicles or more, really, I would say one. But if you have one medium to heavy duty vehicle on the road, you want to participate in this and figure out how we can help you reduce the pollution that you're contributing to in your area. So there's some resources out there. We're going to have some conversations. Some of them, 3 of them will be in person and 3 of them will be virtual. So stay tuned. We'll be reaching out to a number of folks that are on the call today. Any other questions for Jill before we go around and get some industry updates from you? All right. So I want to call on a couple of our folks that are on the call and see if they have anything exciting that they want to share with us. Why don't we go to Logan? Logan McSherry, any updates from the industry? Anything you're working on?
Hey, Antoine, Logan McSherry, Frederick County Sustainability Office. So we're excited that we've recently completed our community-wide electric vehicle readiness plan, which is a public-facing plan. Talks about ways we as the local government can improve access to electric vehicles through good planning and zoning, et cetera. And at the same time, we've completed our internal fleet transition plan, which talks about ways we can reduce our emissions from our internal fleet, both through electrification and alternative fuels, mainly what we're thinking of as biodiesel. So those were just completed at the tail end of 2023, and we're working with the county executive's office now for the official press release of those. So we're excited that those are going to be out in the world, and we're working hard to get those implemented. Also, we applied in the fall or summer, I forget when it was, for the CFI grant. So I just heard this week that the awards for that are going to be announced. So I'm excited to
It
see.
was announced this morning.
Okay, well, yeah, I've been busy, but I'm excited to check that and see if we got anything to help us implement that plan.
The Maryland Clean Energy Center got $15 million.
Wow. Okay, love to hear
That's
that.
fantastic.
Yeah, did you all do a separate application or were you part of their team?
We were part of that.
Oh, well,
Great,
congratulations. All right, we were too.
great.
So good. So that's big news. And so just wanted to share that they got 15 million. So
Woohoo.
yeah, so that's good news. So I just wanted to share that with you.
I just want to add to Logan's comment. If you are seriously interested in learning more about this biodiesel technology, would love to set up a one-on-one call with you afterwards.
All right, sounds good, Jill. Good
Thank you.
presentation. Thank you for that.
I'll put my
Yeah,
information
Jim,
in
why
the
don't you
chat.
put your thing in the chat so everyone has it, okay? Please.
Yep.
Thank you. And that's all I have for my update. Thanks, everyone.
All right, thank you. Thank you. I forgot to mention two other big updates. We supported 4 or 5 school districts for the EPA Clean School Bus funding. And 2 of our districts did win. The $4.7 million that went one was for 16 million, 4.7 million went to Montgomery County Schools, and then 16.5 million, I think that went to Fairfax County. So public schools. So they $20 million, $21 million, not a bad grab. And there's funding applications that are due on January 31st for another round. So all the folks, make sure you're reaching out to your school districts. I know that some of our other partners in Virginia also got some propane buses funded. And so January 31st, this next round is going to be a lot less complicated. It's a quick couple-page application. And so if you we will be pushing the next 20 days to encourage school districts.
Antoine, does that run through GWRCCC or does that go directly to the school
It
district?
goes directly to the schools
Okay.
or to the vendors. And so, but we've been really working with them. Some of them will have some community engagement work, so we will be reaching out to them about community engagement work.
Good to know. Thank you.
Yes, so we will be reaching out to them on that. Let me call on one other member, see if they have any updates. I'll call on 2 other quick ones. I want to go to Jim Norris. Any updates?
Hey, Antoine, how are you? Hey,
I'm
everybody.
doing good. How are you? What you working on? What you got?
Nice to see
What's
you.
plugging on? What you got going on for
Yeah,
2024?
what's keeping me busy? For this group, I've got a nice project I'm working on at the Port of Baltimore.
Oh,
So,
nice. We're
yeah,
moving, we're
yeah,
opening an
very.
office there in March.
Is that right? Oh, I think you had mentioned that to me. Yeah, real exciting. Here at Volterra, we we site and identify off-site uh, uh, land that we would be able to finance and build charging infrastructure specifically for fleets. So what we're looking at the Port of Baltimore and working closely with them are sites near and around the port where we would invest in charging infrastructure to support the truck traffic, drayage in particular, going back and forth to and from the port. A lot of support from the port. Hats off to them for being so receptive. We're looking at lots of different areas as far as incentives and stuff. So that's moving along. Excited to be working in Maryland on that effort. So I'll keep you posted how that keeps going along.
Let us know how we can be helpful. And there's a big need to clean up the port. So we're really excited about it, hearing about that information. And also, we're going to be hosting a ports forum sometime in early spring. So we'll reach out to you about doing that as well. We're really interested in not just the ports, but also the recreational boats.
Perfect, perfect. And if we can support that event in from a sponsorship standpoint of view or otherwise, please let me know.
We will need your help.
All
Thank
right,
you.
sir. Good
All
stuff.
right,
Thank you.
thank you. I really want, especially these recreational boats. I mean, it drives me crazy when I go up to restaurants because I am a water sign. My wife's a water sign. We love it going by the water. We love eating by the water, walking by the water, swimming in the water. Although I swim a lot better than she does. But don't tell her I said that. So anyhow, we want to clean up the a lot of these ferries and recreational boats, and in addition to the commercial stuff that happens at our ports as well. So thank you for your leadership. Okay, I want to call on one last person, and I want to give a couple quick other updates. So I'm gonna call on A. Ramsey.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. Anything you're working on for 2024 that we should know about and we could be supportive of, or any good news you want to celebrate?
Well, Salok is a electric school bus conversion company, and we're in some negotiations in Maryland. So nothing definite yet, but I wanted to just get a lay of the land and happy to see that you all were offering this webinar. So that's why I showed up. Thank you so much. It was very informational. I
All
appreciate it.
right, good. Well, we definitely support conversions of gas school buses to electric or anything beyond diesel, traditional diesel. So we'd love for you to become a member as well, okay?
Yes, I made note of the website and we'll be sure to take care of that
All
administratively.
right. We want to get you out there and be supportive. There are over 500,000 school buses, and 90+% of them are diesel. So we want to clean them up, okay?
Okay, absolutely. Thank you again.
All right, thank you. Thank you. I'm glad my spirit just told me, let me talk to Ramsey here. Ramsey. All right, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Thank you. So I want to just take a couple quick minutes just to, and you can put some of these in the chat as well. But I want to go around and get everyone to give one marketing idea that we can incorporate over the next 3 to 5 years for Greater Washington. I know some of you may have filled out a survey, but since I got you and we got 8 minutes left, I just want to give every person on here to give us one marketing idea or branding idea that you think that the organization should take a look at implementing over the next 5 years. So I'm going to go to Vinny from XTT Life, who is a marketing guru.
Hey, Antoine, how you doing? It was so good seeing you
too.
last night, my friend.
You too.
Well, listen, my idea is just pretty straightforward, right? So I'm honored and proud to be part of the Greater Washington Regional Clean Cities Coalition. And the cool thing is that XCT Life is like the hub for solutions where we utilize environmental products to help with anything that takes combustible fuel. I would encourage everyone, and again, Ms. Ramsey, thank you so much for joining us here today. I have the honor of partnering with them, and I cannot wait to meet with the school buses to show what it is, the technology that they have. And again, Antoine, we know that the Greater Washington Regional Clean Cities Coalition, you guys can open up doors for us. And all we want to do is we just want to share the analytics of what we have and do a pilot program, right? So all we're looking for is just an opportunity to showcase what we have here, but we do have a solution right now for liquid fossil fuel, which has been here before mankind and will probably be here before the end of time, right? So I want to thank you all. Thank you,
Do
Antoine.
you have one marketing idea for the organization? Marketing or advertising idea to help push the brand out for the organization.
There's a solution right now for liquid fossil fuel, y'all, with the burn rate modifier.
Use that to help promote what we do. Okay.
There you go. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. All right. Jimmy Turner. Jimmy, I know we think we're getting together soon, but Jimmy, any ideas you think a nice nonprofit like GWRCCC can do to promote itself?
Yeah, thanks, Antoine. I appreciate you. Appreciate the invitation here today. I would say just use use your traditional social media platforms that everybody these days seem to be fully fully aware of and committed to. That seems to really get the word out, in my opinion, to to constituents and patrons and citizens. So I guess that's probably what I would probably suggest.
All right, I got it. All right, let's go to Preston Boone. Preston, any ideas? All right, let's go to Quentin, Washington. I know Quentin's a successful business guy that does a lot of marketing. I'm trying to get at least 3 ideas from this call before I let you all leave in 4 minutes.
You say 3 ideas. I think you guys are doing a pretty good job. Well, happy New Year's, by the way. But I think you guys are doing a pretty good job with regard to social media. I mean, you're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. Um, hmm. You know that I a lot of times put stuff out based on things that I've gotten through my media feeds. You share a lot of that in the newsletter that you send out, which I think provides a lot of good information. I can't really think of anything else. I mean, for you guys to do. I mean, other than what you're doing. If I come across something though, I will let you know.
No problem. Thank you. Thank you. And we do have a podcast. I strongly encourage you all to go on our podcast, watch our podcast. If you're interested in being a guest on our podcast, let us know. Laurel coordinates that for us. We have a new intern that's going to be from Bowie State that just got certified in social media. So she'll be working, helping out on some community engagement, also on some marketing and projects. But one of her things will be working to strengthen, complement Laurel's efforts around social media. So we're really excited about that. We're going to go to Jill to give the last idea. I know she's been around and she travels the whole globe. So give us one marketing tip to close us out. And I'll do a couple announcements and we'll wrap up.
You know, you and I talked about this, Antoine. I really want to reach out to some of those beyond. We've done a pretty good job of getting to our municipal fleets. And I'm trying to figure out how do we do a better job to reach those private fleets. From a marketing tool, is there a way that we could do something on social media that would attract them, or maybe share some of our success stories? I suppose we are doing that, but I don't know if there's a way to really interject some of our stories into some of the feeds that they might follow.
I love it. I love it. I
That's
think
my suggestion is have your staff try to actually post some stories on some feeds that they might watch.
I love it. Great idea. People like to see themselves, right? It's
Well, and it's better coming from our fleets than from ourselves.
I
right?
love it. I love it. We can do that. I love it. Love the local put in 5 years. It might be due to up for an update. All right.
Well, thank you so much, Antoine, for all you guys are doing. I think it's fabulous. Moving the industry forward. And congratulations on your recent successes. Can't wait to hear how those come into play.
Thank you. Well, folks, we are out of time. I want to thank you all for being here. There is an event for next week. We'll make sure that you get an invite to the one on Tuesday and the one on Thursday of next week as well. So take care and have a great weekend. Stay safe and happy MLK Day. Bye-bye.
All right. Thanks, Antoine.
Thank you.
You too,